This is the new Vanpowers City Venture. It is a stealth Class 1 e-bike with a sleek and unique design. And in this video I'm gonna tell you everything about it. The bike arrived in a very small box. Opening it revealed all the nicely organized parts inside of it. I was actually very impressed by the packaging. Everything was organized and surrounded by protective foam to prevent damage. After unboxing all the parts, I could start assembling the frame. In fact, this bike comes completely disassembled and uses a tenon and mortise mechanism to lock all the parts together to form a complete frame, which actually proved to be very stiff and strong. If you aren't experienced with assembling things, well, don't worry, because the super detailed instruction manual will guide you through all the simple steps to easily complete your build. All the tools you'll need are included in the accessory box, and to make things even simpler, all the parts are numbered, so there's no way to mess up the assembly. After completing the frame, it's just a matter of following the last few steps to finally complete this beautiful bike. Before taking it for a test ride, I want to talk a bit about its specs. This bike weighs only 15 kilos, and that makes it very easy to carry around if needed. I absolutely love this infinite silver color with the tan grips, saddle and tires, which combined to its sleek look makes it one of the best looking bikes I've ever seen. The battery is housed inside the down tube, which is a bit thicker than the rest of the bike, but not so much to make others think you're riding electric. To power the bike, there is a EU legal 250 watts hub motor, which will propel you forward up to 25 km per hour on flat and hilly roads. There is no throttle, but you can choose between 5 modes of pedal assist to always get the right amount of electric help. The 5 modes can be chosen with the nice feeling buttons on the handlebars, which are connected to a surprisingly good color display, which will show you the battery level in 20% increments, the speed you're riding at and what mode you're currently in, as well as the total and trip distance. This display gets very bright and is visible even in the strongest of sunlights. What's not visible are the front and rear lights, because in fact this bike has neither of them, to keep a clean look, but you can always add some if you desire. Moving on to the components found on this bike, the first thing worth mentioning are the powerful Tektro hydraulic disc brakes with 180mm rotors front and back to offer amazing stopping power with a fantastic leather feel. The bike rolls on Kenda 700C/28 tires, which look amazing in the tan color, matched to the comfortable lock-on grips and the bouncy saddle. Last but not least is the single-speed drive system, which is a super premium Gates carbon drive unit, which is completely maintenance-free and should last upwards of 15,000 kilometers, which is completely insane. It also is totally silent in operation, and the only downside is that, well, you don't have gears. But if you live in a relatively flat area, gears are not really necessary, also thanks to the additional help of the motor. I actually live in a mountain area with steep roads everywhere, and was actually able to climb up most of them, as long as I maintained a speed of around 20 km per hour, to keep the hub motor working in the most efficient way. However, to maintain that speed, I often had to pedal quite a bit harder than I would have liked, and sometimes I just couldn't keep up with the gradient and had to push the bike to the top of the hill. But hey, this bike is not meant to be a hill climber anyway, and I still think that this is the perfect bike for more flat areas. The last things worth mentioning are the appreciated through axle, which was a pleasure to see coming from a mountain biker perspective. The pedals are nothing special, so as the kickstand, which does the job nicely, but sticks out the back in a funky way. Alright, that should be all the specs covered. Let's now take it for a test ride. The bike immediately felt very good and was a pleasure to ride on flat ground or very small gradients. The ride started with a downhill road section to reach the cycle path. The bike glided on the asphalt thanks to the skinny tires, reaching speeds up to 50 km per hour. This allowed me to test the brakes, which proved to be surprisingly powerful and sensitive, slowing the bike down very effectively. The bike always felt stable and controlled, so nothing to complain on that regard. The ride continued on the cycle path, which was a mix of gravel and asphalt. On both cases the bike was very comfortable thanks to the very nice saddle and its good geometry. Then I tested the various pedal assist modes. On mode 0, with the motor completely turned off, the bike felt not much different from any other analog bike, thanks to its low weight. Mode 1 is a really light pedal assist with the motor pumping out about 100 watts of power. The power output incrementally rises to get to 250 watts in mode 5, where I could really feel the extra power, which allowed me to easily reach 25 km per hour in most of the situations. The bike, since I live in Europe, is limited to that speed of 25 km per hour. Despite that, I was able to easily reach speeds up to 35 km per hour on flat ground, without even putting it that much effort, thanks again to its low weight and the low friction belt drive and tires. On gravel, the bike performed perfectly well, even though I could feel all the bumps because of the lack of suspensions, but I think that's actually a nice thing because it keeps the weight down. Coming back home, I had to tackle a very slight climb, and let's say that the bike didn't perform so nicely. In fact, because of the lack of gears, I had to stand up on the bike and really put down the power in order to maintain the ideal speed of 20 km per hour. That being said, if the gradient of the climb is less than 7 or 8 degrees, you'll be able to cruise up it with no problem and high speeds. In fact, yesterday I went on a longer trip to test the battery range and was able to cruise up a 7 km climb with a 6.5 degree gradient at a constant 25 km per hour speed, without putting much effort into it. Speaking of range, I was able to ride around 35 km on hilly ground on one charge, always on mode 5, so I would say that's pretty good. I think that this bike is really perfect if you live in an area with climbs not steeper than 6 degrees. In that case, you'll be completely happy with the silent motor and drive system, the lightweight, beautiful design and powerful brakes. If you live in a more mountainous area, I can't suggest this bike to you because you'll definitely need gears to tackle the steep terrain. But anyway, a huge thanks to Vanpowers for providing this bike for free. That's it for now, I'll catch you in the next video.